In this video, I'm going to take you through my analysis of the ACCA September 2024 pre-seed notes, which you are able to download yourself so you can follow it through and make your own extra notes on top of it to help you to prepare for your exam. My name is James. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and you can check out the full playlist as we go through these pre-seed notes top to bottom because they're definitely going to help you out to pass. If you'd like to access the notes, just click the link in the description of this video. You can download a copy for yourself. And to go with the notes, to give you the best possible chance of passing, I'm delighted to say I'm affiliated with Astranti, where you can actually get money back mock papers, actual analysis packs on there as well, that I'd highly recommend that you check out. And for pure transparency on the channel, as always, I'm affiliated with them. So if you were to purchase any through the links down in the description below, I'd be entitled to a small commission that goes to supporting the YouTube channel. But as always, a massive, huge thank you, and I hope this video helps. Hope? What am I on about? Of course, this video is going to help you get those extra marks and that pass you are looking for. So in terms of when you're looking through the notes yourself, we're going to start off with the contents page as to, if I was in your shoes, how would you attempt this? How would you go about it? Well, we've got the Transport Network Company, TNC. You've got to be on your toes as to the case study is based on the likes of Uber, the likes of Grab, and so they will abbreviate it in the exam to say just TNC, like you can see down the side there. So you've got to be on the ball as to saying, right, I know exactly what that means and the industry it relates to, because that fits into your commercial acumen marks for the professional skills. Now, in terms of breaking the full pre-seed notes up, I'd actually separate them out into each of the little subsections you can see there page by page, and I'd probably go on the lines of having either an Excel tab or an actual pen and paper, splitting it up into the 5 different areas, and then from there actually then breaking it down into the subsections like you can see in part 2, the area of contents 2 there, the overview, Beago market, TNC services, so that your brain can digest it a bit more easily on that. But you'd be pleased to know the first part on there for the introduction right up at the top. I know it's only got a few lines, but this is so underrated from a commercial acumen point of view, actually discussing the scenario properly in your exam, that we've got Beago on there. I've highlighted all of the key names in purple if you're reviewing the notes yourself. And anything underlined in red are just absolutely important key points, terms, figures, elements that you need to be aware of for your SBL exam. So in that introduction on there, first of all, we've got Beago is the Transport Network Company, TNC, operating in the country of Bealand. And first thing for your notes to get down, and I'm going to mention it in the mistakes video on my channel, so make sure you check that out as well. There will be students who will get the country of Bealand mixed up with the company of Beago on there. I can just see it now. Even when you read it through to yourself and you're going through all the full notes, be super careful. Get it down in your notes for that introduction on there. And in terms of what we can look at here and link it into areas of the SBL syllabus, population of 200 million, so there's massive scale and opportunity for Beago to actually sell to a mass of customers. And you could link it into the opportunity factors of a SWOT analysis, and this is going to be also critical when we look at other theories for your notes. Porter's 5 forces, Porter's diamond on there is another one, and Porter's value chain. Beago was established 12 years ago, so it's a mature company, it's established, and the key thing is that it's the second largest TNC business in Bealand, and that is based on revenue and customer numbers. When I had a look at that, I went, it's got great market presence, it's obviously doing extremely well, 12 years into actually being founded on there. And first thing to note down from that about comparison to the competitor, now you can see just at the bottom next to me that Zemby is the actual main competitor. They are the largest in the actual Bealand market. But when I saw based on revenue and customer numbers, those are the two variables that I definitely have in the back of my mind going into the SBL exam, that if on the exam day they had things that altered the revenue and altered the customer numbers, that changed sort of demand factors and linked into other sort of theories on there, then you've got to say, right, okay, that could be definitely something I want to refer to, and link it back to the scenario, which is only going to impress the market on that. So that's the introduction. I know it's only a couple of sentences, but you go, there's so much information that we can pull on there, and it's going to be critical that you can apply that in your exam. Area number 2 now, in terms of the actual overview, and again, you can read through these in your own time, but I'm just highlighting the main important bits. But you've got to be thinking practically, and this is another area that's going to separate a student who's going to pass and flourish in this exam versus someone who's going to panic read these notes and then go, oh my word, what am I doing? So going into the SBL exam, if it was me, I've got to be having about the TNC industry that obviously it's transportation, it's based on the likes of Uber and Grab, and therefore we've got the different payment methods of a website and a mobile-based app. As you can see, they do not maintain their own fleets of vehicles or employ their drivers directly. So first of all, on that website and mobile-based app, I'm thinking about technology, I'm thinking about data issues, ethics could be thrown in there for that. Or you've got to be thinking of like contingency plans or what if scenarios. So what if Beago's app actually went down? What if that customers didn't actually stop purchasing on the website on there? Those are just the 2 variables from the business model that you need to be aware of, and again could be factored into a sort of Porter's 5 forces or Porter's diamond style question. Then we come on to maintaining their own fleet of vehicles. That's fantastic for keeping their costs down, but could be a limiting factor in terms of the expansion of the business. But you've got to be thinking on the other side that from a capital expenditure point of view, they're not having to buy hundreds or thousands of cars for their drivers. Now, the reason why they've mentioned about employing their drivers directly on there is because Uber were actually involved in a case, you can check it out online, put it on Google, where the drivers actually took it to court to say that they are actually not self-employed on there. They're not working on a sort of basis of just like, yep, I'm working now and then I'm not working now. They wanted to be based as employees. Now, the reason why they want to be based as employees and not, key one for your notes, you can see underlined there, independent contractors, was if you're an employee, you get sick pay on there, you get holiday pay and other perks of being part of a company. The employer doesn't want you to be an employee because then they have to make national insurance contributions as well. So again, just thinking about it from a real world point of view, you can have a little read of the case for 20 minutes or so, just so you get a bit familiar. But it's just so you're aware about setting the scene, about understanding this company on there. Then we come on to the range of services outlined on pages 3 and 4. And again, this is where we get onto the sort of competitive rivalry, maybe even Ansoff Matrix could come into it on there, but we'll look onto those in pages 3 and 4 in a lot more detail. But it's a case of just being aware about diversifying your revenue and the competitors in the market. We then have as well concentration of customers. This is a real positive. This is a strength for the market. If we were looking at a SWOT analysis now, that in Beeland, the country, it's well developed. 80% of its population live and work in the urban areas. So this is where the companies actually thrive on there. So this is where Beago really earns its money. And you could also link this to supply and demand factors. There are limited alternative options on there, so you've got the competitive rivalry factors, but you're looking at you've got the public transport alternatives, buses, trains, but one of the other areas that they've actually diversified into are bicycles as well. So there are alternatives for customers, but it's a case of they will go through the mobile-based app based on if the price is correct and they actually have the disposable income on there. To also set the scene on here for some other factors that link into, say, Pestle, we have, well, that's Pestle's theory, just to be clear. We have Beeland's government is also favourable for this. They actually are saying this is a real positive thing because they've got overcrowding, unreliability on their public transport at the moment, and governments don't want to invest in these areas because that is their funding that goes onto it. What customers want convenient and reasonably priced alternative public transport. This is what Beago, the company, operates on through their apps. And it's an alternative from a cost-saving point of view. So we're looking at different stakeholder groups now for people owning their own car. I mean, if you own your own car, you know you've got the insurance, you've got the other factors on there like wear and tear for it. So if you don't actually have to own a car and you've got a company like Beago who can actually bring in, just call them up, take you where it is, that's where they're meeting the customer's needs and preferences. And that is going to be another factor that they're going to be really, really positive about. Before we get on to the Beagle market now, I've put on the left-hand side, I'm just working out where I am in relation to it, other factors that so many SBL students overlook. And I've put on there the corporate governance factors, agency theory, stakeholder theory, corporate social responsibility, and not forgetting the professional skills marks areas. So let's just break it down as to, for your notes, where could these areas come up when you watch the other episodes that I'm going to come on to in this series going through the full notes. So agency theory is all about the conflict between the managers, the directors who run the business on a day-to-day basis versus the shareholders. And we have this in this situation. We've got the original founders. It's also a listed organisation, so the public can buy it. And we've also been given 6 directors, but we have no idea on their names or if anything's been going right or wrong. So agency theory could definitely be an area that you could refer to on the exam day if a question or requirement was shaped in that way that referred to the directors or the current shareholders, maybe linking back to shareholder wealth maximisation on there. Stakeholder theory I've just touched on. Get it down in your notes. It will come up on your exam, internal and external stakeholders, and just considering the different factors. As we've been going through, my hunch, if you're going to get it down, is the drivers themselves. They've talked about their satisfaction being actually decreasing year on year, and then other factors as well, that the customers haven't maybe been as nice to them. There have been aspects that could potentially go wrong. They love to throw in the SBL exam, a sort of social media news article. So again, different stakeholder groups. And last one on there, the environmentalists who are particularly worried about, obviously, about the planet, because the way that Beago operates, it's a car-based system and they want to reduce that as much as possible. But to be fair to Beago, they're actually putting in electric cars as an option for customers to select. That sort of nicely lays us on to CSR, the concepts and the responsibilities, how the business operates. It's a massive factor on there, can link into pestle analysis for your notes, because we'll come on to it in the next episode. The legal factors. There are cases where they've actually had, in this sector, people have been found guilty for a variety of different areas. So again, could be something that could come up, and linking it back to CSR. And last but not least, for this first part, we've got the SBL professional marks. Key thing for your notes on here. The areas that students don't do particularly well on are commercial acumen and skepticism on there. What does that mean in layman's terms? Well, commercial acumen referring to the industry, the scenario, how it logistically works if you were to work in that business. So you've got to link it to the Uber/Grab based model, understanding how it works through the apps and the drivers and the customers and the payment methods, again, which are all linked in the preceding notes. But skepticism, the one at the bottom, on your exam day, there will be requirements that the marker wants you to challenge on there. And actually saying, hang on a second, is that correct? Is that the right course of action on there? And that's where you have a balanced argument and you need to actually challenge the requirements back. You will gain marks for that. Analysis-wise, that's sort of, you might get a couple of calculations on the day. We don't know. They could throw it in on there if we get some profit figures as well. But communication evaluation, that's where you bring in your theories. Again, we're going to talk about it in the series itself. Your SWOT analysis, your Porter's 5 forces, Porter's diamond on there. But the key thing, again, just to finalise, which makes me pull my hair out when I mark ACCA exams for providers. That's not for ACCA, not for your exam. These are for students who I help out. just give me a recommendation. Tell me what you would do from your professional opinion. That's what it's coming from, and shaping your arguments as a result. So that's going to bring us now to the end of part 1. In part 2, I'm going to link it up at the top for you so you can carry on watching, where we're going to start on the Beago market. Be sure to give this video a massive like. Any questions, leave me one down below, and check out, if you want to buy these notes, they're down below along with the Strantes courses and mock papers. I would highly recommend you check out. So I'll see you on the other side for part 2 now, and thank you very much.